I recently saw a video about a site called narrate.com. Supposedly, on the site, you would see a real corpse rotting in the grave in real time. It was all fake, and might have been some ploy to make money through porn ads. But that video did remind me of something. Rotted Riley. Rotted Riley was a YouTube channel from around 2014 that basically did the same thing as seemerot.com was supposed to do. Show you a corpse rotting in real time. I forgot where I heard about it. Possibly a friend? All I know is that the premise sounded cool to an edgy teen, which I was at the time. The channel had a ton of videos that were hours long, all showing a woman in a coffin. In the earliest upload, you could see the woman pretty clearly. She was in her 20s, blonde hair, wearing a necklace with an R on it, and her eyes were closed. Just by scrolling through the thumbnails, you could see her decomposing over the course of many videos. I followed the channel for a few weeks. Sometimes I'd hop on a live stream. There'd usually be 1 or 2 people in the chat. I think the most I saw was 5. Chat usually had a couple of messages from people, but what I remembered was the pinned message made by the channel that appeared in every stream.
"Don't wake up Riley. She's sleeping."
Creepy, sure, but what do you expect from a channel live streaming a decomposing corpse? I just figured it was part of the vibe. I usually had the live stream on in the background while I was doing my edgy teen artwork. The channel just inspired the sort of morbid shit I drew as a teen. Plus, weirdly enough, it felt like I had a company while I was drawing. Sure, that company was a decomposing corpse, but it's not like I was the kind of person with better options at the time. I'd sometimes take a look at the stream every so often, completely unfazed by the rotting, bug-eaten corpse. One day, while I was drawing with the stream on in the background, I heard a thump from the video. That was weird, since the live stream didn't have any sound. What would you hear from a corpse? I checked the video. Riley was still in the same position she'd been in this entire time. She was still lying down with her eyes closed. Her skin was still gray and being chewed through by bugs. The normal shit for Riley. I was about to shrug it off when something changed. Her eyes opened. She started turning her head side to side, the skin on her neck ripping like paper. She thrashed about and let out the most harrowing scream I'd ever heard. Chat was exploding, with people losing their minds. The comment I remember most, though, was from the Rotted Riley channel.
"Someone woke her up."
I liked creepy stuff, but this entire thing freaked me the hell out. I exited the live stream and tried watching something else to take my mind off of whatever the hell I just saw. The next day, I worked up the nerve to try going to the channel again, only to see that it had been taken down. There wasn't a trace of this channel left on YouTube. Over time, I ended up forgetting about the channel. I think part of it was just me trying to repress what I saw. But then I saw that video on seemerot.com, and this entire thing exploded back into my head. After remembering all of this, I decided to try and look back into it. I couldn't find any archives of the videos or images from the stream. I found vague mentions here and there, but nothing concrete. Most everyone figured this was a hoax or creepypasta. I was about to dismiss this as some weird false memory or Mandela effect thing when I came across something. A missing person report. The missing person was a woman who disappeared around 2014. She was in her mid-20s, had blonde hair, and wore a necklace with an R on it. Her name was Riley Ashcroft. She is still missing to this day. The spoon floats above my kitchen countertop. I don't remember when it appeared. I think it's always been there, choosing to be ignored. Once I noticed it, I was immediately afraid. How could a spoon float? How could a physical object go against everything I have ever been taught? The spoon does not care what is possible. It is a spoon. It floats upright, with the handle pointing to the floor and the bowl towards the ceiling. It almost never moves. It doesn't need to. It is a spoon. It seems so mundane and simple, but how can something so peculiar be anything but terrifying? This single object defies everything anyone has ever known. A magician may perform tricks, but this spoon is doing something that no human has ever been able to perform. By defying nature in this way, it goes against every rule the universe has ever had and brings the nature of reality into question. But how can this be? It is a spoon. It looks ordinary. Its reflective metal shows no sign of age. Every day, I check if the spoon is still there. It always is. Sometimes I think about touching it, but I can never bring myself to try. I don't think it would allow me anyway. I miss my best friend. They could not see the spoon. I showed them the week it appeared. Do you see it? His blank expression, staring right through the countertop, showed me that he could not see. Perhaps his mind could not comprehend it, or perhaps he was not chosen to have this revealed to him. I should have never attempted to show anyone. Unveiling the spoon is not my decision to make. Before he could speak, the spoon moved. The only time it ever has. It lodged itself under his eyelid, only the handle still visible, protruding from the small gap in his eye socket. The handle tilted upwards, putting pressure onto his eye, until it no longer remained in the socket. We were both probably screaming, but I don't remember. My mind was too broken to hear. Blood poured to the floor as the spoon continued to move inside his head, as if it were searching for something. It moved effortlessly, like digging ice cream out of a pot. After what seemed like minutes, although it may have been closer to mere seconds, the spoon returned to its original position, completely clean. The crystal-clear reflection of the room remained on its surface. No hints of the horrors that took place just moments prior. At first, my friend fell to the floor. Then, suddenly, he was no longer there. I didn't see him disappear, but I didn't look away either. It was as if different parts of reality seeped together, closing around him. The whole room looked as it always had. I began to wonder if I was crazy. Had anything even just happened? Things were happening too fast for anything to seem real. Things still don't seem real now. I never saw my friend again. I've never told anybody what I saw. I'm not even sure how I would. As I entered my kitchen, I stepped over the spot where my friend had once been. The spoon was next to me. I tried to ignore it, as I often do. But somehow, I couldn't look away. Something in the spoon caught my attention. In the inverted reflection where the bowl curves inward, I saw my friend lying at my feet, in a puddle of blood. His eye lay next to him. I tried to look away, but I was not allowed. The privilege of ignorance was taken from me as I relived the events that took place against my friend. Yet all the while, a single thought lodged into my brain as the spoon had once lodged into his. Why is this happening to me? This kitchen utensil doesn't care what anyone thinks. It exists as a portal to the unknown, the only connection between reality and an unexplainable terror. It could have been any object, any physical thing. But here it is, manifesting in my kitchen, a few feet away from where I make sandwiches. It is not a spoon. It is a herald
of darkness. Days 1506.
This counter is how I track what day I'm on. Every day, when I wake up, I type that before I forget. There are a million movies surrounding this. They all focus on comedy. This is not funny. This is a living nightmare.
Posts 1450.
It has been December 13th, 2022 for about 4 years. I have written this Reddit post too many times. I don't post it every day, but I almost always do, in the small hopes that someone's advice will work. When I was only a few days into this, my posts were short, a few sentences at most. I would add more information every day, cramming more and more information in. Eventually, it got to the point where most of my day was spent typing things up, and it got tiring. Whilst this is your first time reading this, I have written slight variations of this post over 1,000 times. Today just happens to be the day where I'm in your timeline. Tomorrow, it'll be the exact same for me, whilst you move on with your life. Asking for advice in person takes too long, and usually, nobody believes me. The internet is the best way to reach a large number of people fast.
Times drove to hospital. 907.
My wife is 9 months pregnant. Every day, at 11:49 p.m., she goes into labor. No matter what I do differently, it always happens. On the drive to the hospital, at exactly midnight, everything always goes black, and the day resets to when I was sleeping this morning. I don't even always wake up. Some days, at midnight, I'm suddenly back to dreaming again. Sometimes, the dream even continues the drive to the hospital, and I always wake up before my wife gives birth, and I always cry. A terrifying thought I sometimes have is, what happens to my wife? Is everyone in the world resetting? But I'm the only person with the memories. Am I in a different universe? And the version of me driving the car thinks they've broken the loop. Do I disappear for her, and there's a car crash? That last one is the most terrifying for me. Some days, I don't even drive her down, and she's furious at me for it. I hate to do it, but I like to think I'm saving her from a potential crash. The comments are always slightly different, probably because nothing is truly repeatable. The simple act of me wording this slightly differently each day will cause different outcomes for that day. A few things are usually the same, though User Brightbites, you're going to comment about how this reminds you of Groundhog Day, and how it's been your nightmare since you were a kid. You're also not going to read down this far, because you never noticed this prediction. User Skipper15C, you're going to comment about trucks. I'm kidding. You're actually going to write down some cocky comment about how I was wrong, and fate doesn't dictate you. Also, you spelled "your" wrong.
Deaths 197.
I've ended it so many times, in so many ways. It never works. I feel the immense pain it causes, so I always try to pick the fast methods. But no matter what, I always wake up, as if nothing ever happened. I haven't tried it in a few years. I've accepted, now, that death is no way out of here.
Kills 1.
I've killed someone once. I hate myself for it. Even though I see them every day, alive and well, I can't get their lifeless eyes out of my mind. It was purely out of curiosity. I've tried so many different things in my time trapped, and this is the one I regret most. My neighbor did nothing wrong. I just wanted to see what would happen. I got arrested and taken into custody. Just before midnight, an officer came into the interview room to let me know my wife had gone into labor. He was only halfway through his sentence when midnight hit.
Wife's deaths 0.
It's crossed my mind. It can't be a coincidence that this keeps happening on the same day my wife goes into labor. I keep thinking, what if it's her? Or the baby? But the only reason I want to break this loop is to see my daughter. It's the only thing I want. The only thing I need. The one thing that can make me sane again after living like this. If killing her breaks the loop, I'd rather be looped forever. I want to see my daughter. I didn't need the money. Too many films are made as a paycheck, a means to pay rent. But the rent, in most of these cases, is actually the construction costs on a new pool. But I could live comfortably off the residuals from my first film for the rest of my life. I get script submissions daily. Not as many as I used to, or as high of quality. I guess that's what happens when your first film is a critical and commercial success. I went from filming nights and weekends to sitting next to Anne Hathaway at the Oscars. She's a sweet woman. Faint scent of lavender. My later films haven't achieved the same acclaim. There's still a decent audience, but my name gets mentioned less and less. I went from groundbreaking artist and toast of the town to a barely mentioned byline. So when the package arrived on my doorway, it piqued my curiosity. I didn't even know it was a script. Usually they're thick, 90 to 120 pages. You can tell immediately what you're holding. This one was thin and arrived late in the evening. I took Millie, my Shih Tzu, out to do her business before bed. I still say our, although it's been 2 years since Jen passed. Bone cancer. Although I am thankful she didn't linger in pain, I still ache for her. Climbing into bed alone is always the worst. So even though it was 2 a.m., I was up with Millie. She finished, and we walked back to the house. At the front door, she started whimpering and sniffing at something. Then I saw it, tucked behind one of the planters. Not hidden, but not easily found either. The envelope was nondescript, not even a label. This struck me as odd, but it was late and I was tired. When we went upstairs, I set it on the nightstand, brushed my teeth, washed my face, stared into the mirror, barely recognizing my own reflection. Sitting in bed, I reached over to turn off the lamps and knocked it onto the floor. Picking it up, before I even knew it, I had opened it. A short script, maybe 10 pages in total, fell out. This piqued my curiosity, because no one sends out short film scripts. No one. There's no money in shorts. No business. I decided to read the first page. It was like nothing I had ever read. No characters. No action. Just images. Yet, it drew me in. I felt something within me stir to life. A long, dormant hunger. A creative impulse. Something I hadn't felt since writing my first film. I saw each scene in my head. It was vivid, like a walking dream, somehow even more real than reality. My dreams that night were feverish, the whole film playing over and over on repeat, growing in intensity. When I woke the next morning, it was even more intense. I had work to do, but all I could think about was the film. Every time I tried to refocus, it would fill my consciousness, pressure building up. So I got my iPhone out, filmed each scene, just as it was in my head. First take every time. That never happens. Perfection. I was mainlining now. Edited it overnight. Finished as the sun began to peek over the horizon. I uploaded it on YouTube. Somehow I knew it needed to be anonymous, so I made a throwaway account with a fake email. Once I posted it, the creative flow turned off. With it, my consciousness. Waking up, I didn't know what day it was. Groggy. Millie was whining at the door. I let her off leash. Screw the HOA. I can afford the fines. I flipped on the evening news. An anchor talking about the economy. Then a breaking news report about a viral video of unknown origins. Racked up over 200 million views within 8 hours. I pulled up my YouTube video. It sat at 215 million views. Then I saw below it. My breath hitched in my chest. My heart jackhammering. People had begun to post reaction videos. Those ones where they film themselves over the original video. The first one I clicked on was a woman at the edge of a cliff. She just stared at the video, then walked to the edge of the cliff and jumped off. I have no idea who uploaded it. I wanted to stop, but I couldn't. I pressed on the next one. It was a young man up on a balcony overlooking the city. He watched the video. Then, with blank eyes, he turned and began firing his gun into the crowd. The last one I clicked on was a young mother, her baby in a stroller. I closed my laptop. Metallic taste in the back of my throat, like copper. I didn't want to know what happened to that baby. At the door, Millie's whining to get in, but that's not all. The tone of her whine. I don't know how I know, but I do know. There's another envelope outside the door. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. I know I shouldn't open it, but that feeling. How alive you feel when the muses sing to you. I hadn't felt that alive in a long time. Creativity is like a drug. When you hit that open vein, there's nothing like it. And when that vein closes, it gnaws at you like a hunger. I really shouldn't open it. Jen used to say our appetites would be the seeds of our destruction. I'd laugh at her. I'm not laughing now. I am hungry, though. So very hungry.